Hey guys, this is Captain Frugal, and I got some news for you about DC ending two, quote, fan favorite series, unquote. All right, everybody, welcome. This comes from a website that makes me giggle and laugh when I see this. This is comicbook.com. It says DC ending two fan favorite series. And when I hear that, I think of this. First of all, if they're canceling two fan favorite series, it's not a fan favorite series. They cancel comic books because they don't sell. If they're making money, they're going to keep making them. So let's dive in. If you've been paying attention to my weekly comic book reviews, this is coming as no surprise at all. If you think it's a surprise, once again, you live in a weird world of crazy. So anyway, it's by Jenna Anderson here. Okay, Jenna, you got a problem. I can tell you that right off the bat. Two fan favorite DC series are about to come to an end. Once again, neither one was a fan favorite. It did not sell. It says on Friday, as part of DC's June 2023 solicitations, it was revealed that the upcoming 19th issue of Batgirls and the upcoming 10th issue of Tim Drake Robin will be their respective finales. Now, I want to say this. The Batgirls, I did think was improving. It started horrendously bad, bad story, bad art, but it was actually getting better. The art was getting a little bit better. Tim Drake Robin started like a wet fart, and it's going to be ending like one. They're just, I will say Batgirls was probably the better of the two series. Not will probably say it was. I'm not a big fan of every character in it be called a Batgirl. I'd rather instead use their actual characters would have been good. But let me read a little bit more about the article and I'll tell you a little bit more of my thoughts as well. By the way, I'd love to hear your thoughts before just jumping into I'm a hater or whatever. Maybe you've actually listened to my reviews first and understand why my takes were the way they were, and we can have a logical discussion. Anyway, it says Batgirls, which follows the ongoing adventures of Stephanie Brown, which was spoiler, but they call her Batgirl now, and Cassandra Cain, Orphan, being mentored by Barbara Gordon, which is also Batgirl now, began in December of 2021, while Tim Drake Robin began in September of 2022. Now, once I get the idea the Batgirls are all being together like that, but I think it would have been better keeping them their original name. It did do a good job of building camaraderie between Stephanie Brown and Cassandra Cain. I liked that. I thought they did a good job on that, but it definitely was written more to a young girl audience, in my opinion, young adult maybe. What wasn't written for me, I'll say that. But here's the thing: I read it to my girl, and she didn't like it either. So I know that's not everybody. It's a very small sample, but that's one of the things I wonder is who was this really for, and was that really a group of people that were there to begin with? Now here's the thing: for the hate train jumps on, I do understand we need to expand markets to generate sales, but to sell, you still have to sell to a market that exists, that's there for your product. To expect Ellison to get a market that doesn't exist, that's going to support a book right now, yeah, it's laughable. This is a time where superheroes are at a very height of popularity with movies and everything else, and they can't sell these, and partly due to just mismarketing, missing the step and trying to market on things that just don't work, and let alone to changing characters to try to generate interest. Now, I know it's nothing really new there, but this is I mean, did major changes to generate interest here. And they made a lot of flops. Matter of fact, they could have linked these two books together and had a better chance, especially if they would have kept the Stephanie Brown, spoiler, and Tim Drake Robin as a couple together. They could have used that. That was one of the longest, richest history of a couple in comic books, believe it or not. And it made, it was a great relationship. And anybody who says that the Tim Drake change in things wasn't forced, you're wrong. It was forced over, and they did build it over a very short period of time, but a lot of that stuff made no sense whatsoever. And if you argue me on that, I can point out to several panels and everything would pull your whole point to be completely false. I love these people that chime in, well, I read the whole Tim Drake series and it made perfect sense. It was great. You need to learn to read again. because there was panels that directly disproved your theory there. Okay, it's just it wasn't the character, and to change a character to get shock value shows that DC doesn't know what it's doing. DC is failing to capture the audience. They didn't know what to do with the Batgirls, and they didn't know what to do with Tim Drake, and that showed in these comic books. So anyway, it says you can check out the official synopsis of Batgirl 19 and Tim Drake Robin number 10 below. Here's a panel picture of the artwork too that you can expect to see. As I said, there was nothing great there. Here we are. Here's written. This is Batgirls written by Becky Cloonan. Okay, art by Robbie Rodriguez. It just didn't hit. It didn't work for me. So here we go. The people on the Hill have had enough of Grimberry and Gunhawk's demands and take to the streets to march in solidarity with the Batgirls. Moved by this, the Batgirls join in. Now wait a minute here. Notice this. This is funny here. To march in solidarity with them. Okay, and then the Batgirls join in. Maybe they should have been in the front. I don't know. I'm spitballing there. And proving to both the city and the snipers that Gothamites, should not be underestimated. Okay, and that we can overcome even the darkest of times if we have each other. Come join the Batgirls in the march to celebrate them in the last issue of the beloved series. Clearly not celebrating them enough because it's going to be the last issue of the series. A little too late. Maybe we should have done more to celebrate them beforehand. And that's actually a pretty good picture of Robin there, by the way. Tim Drake, Robin number 10. That'd probably be the best Robin cover we would have had out of the whole series, by the way. Written, here's problem right here. Megan Fitzmartin. What has Megan Fitzmartin written at all that's been any good? I mean, seriously. Can you name anything that she's written that's decent? Yeah, I know it seems mean, but I can't. I'm sorry. I think everything that she's written has failed. So anyway, Robin and Batwoman are trapped in a lair of the Chaos Monsters. Will they be able to escape with their sanity intact? Now, just to let you know, this issue series of Robin, this 10-issue series focused on a new villain, okay, Moriarty, which makes complete sense to have a cool kind of, because Tim Drake, first of all, is known as a master detective, okay? So to have a villain that's smart and calculating makes a lot of sense. Even the name Moriarty makes a lot of sense. Too bad, though, the villain was completely lame. The gimmick was lame. And even then, they wrote Robin, supposed to be a super smart detective, not really that smart. So it failed completely. Well, anyway, let's go back to the Batgirls. Okay, what is Batgirls about? Mentored by Oracle, the Batgirls move to their other side of town where Barbara Gordon can keep a better eye on them while the hacker Seer is still invading their lives. Yeah, this was takeoff right from the series in the past, and it was not a bad starting point. Steph may be too rash sometimes, and Cass doesn't speak much, but where they lack in similarities, they make up for with their mutual respect and love for each other, and what makes them stronger together is Batgirls. And I will say they did a good job of that. The one thing they didn't do, and maybe they would have if they had more time, is create them to have a love interest together. I'm glad they didn't fall that. I was seeing that coming. So maybe that's why a good reason why this is canceled, to avoid that. I hope that was never the plan. I'm not saying it was, because it wouldn't have made any sense. And then we have a here in quote, I love that they didn't get Bruce's permission to do any of this stuff. Cleveland explained to the reporters prior to the series debut. They just they're like, well, we're Batgirls. Barbara's the same way. Whereas I think a lot of the Robins were like, you're being mentored by Batman himself. These Batgirls just have the wherewithal to put on the suit and do what they need to do. To me, that's really cool. Okay. Last time I checked, a lot of Robins did what they wanted to do anyway. Yeah, there's a connection to Batman, but we had the same thing with Stephanie Brown and her connection to Batman as well. So that really doesn't show a lot of truth in that. Here's another quote. Yeah, you get the sense that if something terrible went on with Bruce, if Bruce went off the rails and became a bad guy, we might turn to the Batgirls. Really? 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 Who believes that? Right? Who believes that? Conrad echoed, we might. It's beyond standing in the shadow of the Dark Knight, and it's become now we are fully realized characters, and hopefully with this series, we're going to continue to build on it. Now, I get that. It'd be nice to have fully realized characters. I think Stephanie Brown definitely could have used more. Absolutely. Actually, both of those characters could have, and I think she did a halfway decent job on doing that. So that's okay, though I will say there was a lot of craziness, especially with the Tim Drake and Stephanie relationship and how it just became, oh, okay. So we had a super long, very, very deep relationship. And if you read the series of Robin, you would know how deep that relationship was. That breakup would not have been just so, oh, okay, let's move on. No, I'm sorry, it didn't make any sense. So this article says, what do you think of DC ending Batgirls and Tim Drake Robin? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I want to mention a point here. Notice all this was about Batgirls, right? But Batgirls and Robin is being canceled. Where's any information about the Robin story? The Robin story was so bad that they couldn't even talk about the Robin story in the article that's dealing with the Robin story. It says DC's ending two fan favorites. It really only talks about one. I think that alludes to how bad the Tim Drake Robin series was. It was a complete shame. It was a disservice to the Robin character. And if anything DC can do right, it would be to take a gun and it wiped this series out of canon. Find a way to go back, get rid of all that crap, and get Tim Drake back to what he was before all this malarkey. And maybe, get him back with Stephanie again. Let's get, why can't we have couples in comic books that struggle with couple issues and things? I think that's one of the biggest, best things about Tim Drake. We had a Tim Drake, which is an amazing, absolute amazing detective, which Megan Fitzmartin, I think, was trying to get at, but she just maybe doesn't have the mind to write that. And really, really focus on how he's a good detective, because they did not do that in that series, even though some people seem to think they did. I don't know what the heck you were reading. And get them back together. What other Robin? I mean, we're starting to get Nightwing with more of a relationship, but he's always been more of a jump around relationship to relationship kind of character with some serious relationships. Don't get me wrong, but Tim Drake had that solid rock. It'd be nice to have that. We had that with Superman, right? And things. I think we've seen there is a market for a dynamic that want to read couples that are together, want to read about characters that are married sometimes too. I'm not saying we don't want just those. We want the single characters too, don't get me wrong, but there is some room for that. Those are stories that we don't get much in comic books. Think about it. How many comic books do you have with ongoing deep relationships? We had that with Spider-Man for years, and look how the fans are still clamoring for more of that when they ruined it. Anyway, that's my thoughts. This doesn't surprise me that DC's ending these series, because they must have sold absolutely terribly. And once again, fan favorite. This is something we keep getting from a lot of these websites and things that are trying to push agendas and things. They say, oh, these are great series, massive sellers. No, they're not. One of my favorite lies is repeat printings. Yeah, it's because they printed really low runs. So yeah, you could print 2 books and say repeat printings because you did 100 printings. And it didn't mean you sell a lot of books, let alone if comic books are sold to the stores, doesn't mean they actually sold off the shelves as well. So, and I would tell you, from my views, these never sold very well from my local comic shops. So maybe I'm missing it. Well, how do they sell yours, and what did you think? And are you going to miss these series, or do you hope that maybe, just maybe, this is DC waking up? Yeah, right. DC waking up. Right? Not going to happen. But anyway, that's the end of these two. Hope you get the reference of the music there. And that's the end of this video. So I hope you want to share your thoughts on it. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Until next time, everybody. Keep it frugal.